Meteorologist Casey Cloud back with you here in the Weather Center on this Friday evening track, and now two severe thunderstorm warnings. We had one we were getting ready to come on for parts of Hamilton County, another now in Georgia for portions of Lanier County. We'll get to that in a moment, but the one in Hamilton County kind of concerns me a little bit more here because this storm's really evolving and has evolved in the last few moments right over Jasper. Now maybe some of the worst is developing right over the interstate here, where we have maybe some of those things where you get off and exit off the interstate. Those businesses could be getting impacted here to some degree. Some large hail, maybe the ping pong ball size, and also some very gusty winds right now. So this is a nasty storm here toward Hamilton County in Florida. I know, just switching between some different things here in the Weather Center. I'm going to go ahead and kind of look at some different modes here if we can. I know I want to try to get to that Moody radar and maybe get a better look at this, and it shows that maybe just a little bit of the north in some regard as I need to put our storm motion on here, and I guess just a better look at things. So maybe some wind enhancement is showing up a little more north on that radar angle, so that's something to watch. The other warning to the north here is for parts of Lanier County. Some of this stuff seems to be moving off toward the north and west, so I always have to track these different angles here. This is moving off toward the north and west here very slowly, so that could add to those rainfall totals in that area here over the next little bit. So again, we're watching these two different areas here. I want to see if I can put some traffic cameras since we're in Florida here. This is I-75, so just bear with me here. Give me just a moment as I try to effort some of those here to you guys. The viewers here in the Weather Center. It may take me a moment. I gotta configure something here real quick here to get that up because this storm has evolved very quickly here toward Hamilton County. So again, we have a bunch of tornado warnings in Nebraska. We've had some PDS warnings, no tornado emergencies so far. If we have something like that, then we'd have to escalate coverage on that front. But let's focus right now on Hamilton County because this is a nasty storm for those in and around Jasper here in northern Florida. So let me see what I might have in terms of some traffic cameras. I know one of you had it more right into the exit, in the exits there by the interstate. But the radar that's a little closer had it a little bit further off toward the north. So definitely some different angles here and some different heights can kind of play a role here in understanding exactly what's going on. So bear with me here. Gonna try to get this camera set up right now. It's just showing darker skies here, really dark skies, and dark conditions on the road even, more than anything. So let's go ahead and kind of see what we have. We just got a report of a gust of 44 miles an hour. Moody Air Force Base, by the way, if you're wondering, not too long ago there. But here's that traffic camera shot, giving you guys a look at our Florida 501 perspective. This is a mile marker 456.6 on I-75. So just wanted to give you guys an idea. We're not too far away from Georgia, but we're in Florida, and there's a severe storm seemingly just to the north of this shot here on the area road. So again, just trying to give you guys an idea of what is happening here at this point. I'm going to go ahead and keep watching this for a little bit longer here in the Weather Center just to see if anything kind of shifts on it. Maybe we see some lightning that's becoming more prominent, something like that. So again, just kind of interesting. You can kind of see the cloud structure a little bit there too, kind of intriguing. So let's just keep our eyes on stuff like this here. The storm's nearly stationary. So let's see what else we might have here. I know I'm just efforting some different shots, so bear with me. As we look at this vicinity, this area at large in general here. I'm just trying to see what we might have for you guys here. I know the roads are a little bit wet off toward the east here, mile marker 452. So here's a look at this camera shot, mile marker 452, I-75 right now. You can definitely see what is going on here in this area. So I just wanted to try to give you that perspective outside. Definitely some slick roads here. So you need to slow down on the area roads if nothing else when we have these thunderstorms moving on through. So just another perspective of the Florida 511 network. There's camera shots. Keep looking at them as necessary here. But again, this warning right now, the wind potential, it doesn't look maybe quite as organized here as it was trying to appear as if it was around Jasper. I know on the Jacksonville radar, it was showing even more concerning, honestly, than the Moody radar that's a little bit closer to it. It might have been giving us an illusion, something a little bit worse here. Hopefully, the Moody radar is more accurate view here. But it does seem like this latest scan now is developing stuff more right near that intersection of I-75 with 129. So let me go ahead and go down there again. I think that's what we were just kind of looking at, that general area, which in that case, it didn't look all that nasty there when I saw a moment ago. But let's go to a different shot. Okay, well, this is a lot different story, folks. We need to cut to this right now because this just a little bit of a difference in mileage makes a huge difference. Look at this here. I-75 a US 129 mile mark of 451. People are doing what they should not be doing right now, and that's parking under the overpass here to protect yourselves, I assume, from hail that's falling from this storm here. There's still enough room to get around, but you shouldn't be doing this here, really. I know it's what some people want to do here, or maybe they're just pulling off. Some of them don't look like they're actually under here, so maybe they're just pulling off from the rain, but still, that's a lot of people pulled off here in the storm. That if somebody has some low visibility around them, they might have trouble actually seeing here what they're really maybe running into even. If it's just so nasty. I mean, that's just a lot of vehicles there, but it is really low visibility in this area, which again, I mean, that can lead to accidents because you don't see the cars. Also, I mean, you feel unsafe and you're just trying to pull by the side of the road. It's just an odd area here in general, but it looks like it might have even an accident there not too far away. But again, just trying to keep you guys safe and informed here on this shot. A lot more dramatic than we had just not too far away from this one. I-75 US 129 here. This is live, folks. A live look at these inclement conditions here in parts of Hamilton County right now. It's really telling that a weather story on this Florida 511 perspective. You don't want to be out here right now in these type of conditions. Some dangerous, dangerous weather here taking place at this present point in time. It's just really, really wicked, and you gotta stay safe out there in these type of situations. Again, this is Hamilton County, Florida, northern Florida. We'll keep you guys up to date on some of the different stuff. Look at all that lightning there. It's definitely not a storm you want to be out in, but this time of year things pop up so quick you don't have time. Even with the advancements in weather radar, things like that, you don't have a lot of time to take shelter necessarily. Things just kind of happen like this at points and lead to some problems here. So you just don't want to be messing around if you can, but sometimes you just get caught off guard and there's not much you can do in this summertime setup. That's really kind of, again, escalated a little bit today with the boundary and play that we've been alluding to. But again, let me go ahead and move away from this, so we'll keep watching it and keep tracking it. I'm just going to see if we have some other shots right now that might be giving us some different views here. I know it's definitely income out there, though. And that choke point kind of told a story. I mean, that one camera we just showed you not far ago here in the timeline, just to the west, it's not near as nasty as that view just to the east. So I just looked at it again to the further to the east. There was even a nasty sight there. So let's go ahead and go to this camera. This is mile marker 450.5. I-75 there to Florida 511 network. So again, some nasty stuff there as we're looking off toward the north and west. You can see people trying to keep it slow there on the roads at this present point in time. So again, we'll just keep on watching this here, this viewpoint, these different views here as necessary. So again, watching this stuff here on the local level. We have that warning for parts of Hamilton County. The worst might be leaving Jasper a little bit till heavy rain, but seems like the worst of the storm accident maybe down here, closer to the interstate, closer to the accident area now. And then you see this other warning up toward Lanier County. We'll just have to keep watching. Looks like we have some, I need to check the storm motion, but yeah, it looks like some wind energy east of Stockton now. You may get a warning here pretty soon if that's accurate. There's significant weather advisory for gusts 45 to 55 there at this point. But definitely some different things coming together in this corridor. As I want to go ahead, though, and switch on over the national threat because we're getting some updates out of Nebraska that indicate maybe a large tornadoes on the ground, a particularly dangerous situation. So Let me go ahead and see. There's also an observed tornado warnings and different ones coming on out here. Let me go ahead and see what we have here. So this right here, the debris signature, and that is not what I mean. Our indicator. What I mean by that, by the way, is we have a new indicator on here. This little backward triangle with the underline is a debris signature on this radar. And I know this is storm relative velocity, but we're getting winds of 101 one way now and 60 the other way. And then there's your debris signature, and this is going to become a stronger tornado than what it's been showing. So our latest update here, it looks like this one with a warning that's not for a large and extremely dangerous. So let's see what this debris signature was a moment ago. Must have been even worse here then. Yeah, it was getting up there, you know, at least 2,000 feet on that mode, but may even been a little bit worse than that. So let me make sure I'm loading all these frames in here. It's got to do some different calculations, so on a switch radar it kind of confuses it sometimes. So let me just go ahead and make sure I have all our frames in here. Definitely seeing some tornadic debris stuff though in these areas, which is not what you want to see as we go between some different things here in the weather center. So again, there you go. I mean, that's really bad in terms of a tornado there on the ground. It's a little less populated, but this is one of the stronger tornadoes we've seen in a while, probably all week. And it's in progress right now here in Nebraska. It is a tornado warning for Burt over toward Cumming and Dodge counties there. So again, let's just make sure you're taking those kind of precautions here if you're watching from the national perspective. Definitely a nasty situation for some folks out there. Interior room away from windows, a basement would be preferable, but put that football helmet on, put that bicycle helmet on in this type of situation. So again, we're seeing gate-to-gate shear, maybe upward of 160 miles an hour here in Nebraska. It's a very strong tornado that's likely occurring. I know we're getting reports of some homes even taking direct hits from a tornado now in Nebraska. So not what you want to hear. And oh boy, that is our system just updated. I thought it was trying to say we have 0, and not anymore, folks. This is the first time since we've had this upgrade in our system. It's now showing this is an EF2 plus tornado on the ground. We'll just see what's in the path of this, because this might start to get into tornado emergency territory. Unfortunately, that is terrible looking debris. That's the worst I've seen in a while, folks. As we get on here doing some different calculations, it's now saying this could be an EF3, our algorithm here. This is something that we have here for you guys. Still try to get the latest in. The algorithm's running a little bit ahead, by the way, the actual debris really signature on one mode, but not on the other. Let's just keep it like this. This is really bad here, folks. Really bad news. And let me go into a track on here. So this is going to be getting near the Ulen community over next little bit in Oakland, Omaha. Excuse me, Oakland, Nebraska. Here in the Omaha TV market. This is a considerable threat, though. They're saying a large and extremely dangerous tornado was located 3 miles northeast of Scribner, or about 11 miles southeast of West Point, moving north at 30 miles an hour. So a very serious situation in parts of Nebraska right now. A matter maybe of life and death here if anybody gets caught out in a tornado like this. This is very serious stuff. And you can hear my voice here start to escalate in terms of the level of seriousness that we're dealing with. So there's a lot of other things going on right now locally too. And this is an EF3 tornado according to our algorithm. It's doing a debris calculation, folks. It's calculating the debris here, and it's trying to give us an estimate of what type of tornado this is. And it's saying it could be an EF3 tornado at this present point in time in the this area. So what we mean by an EF3 tornado, let's go to our EF scale. Let's go to our EF scale here. We're talking about maybe winds over 136 miles an hour reaching the surface based on that debris signature in the algorithm that is really showing up within our product. Again, this blue area is all debris here. A large tornado, a large, extremely dangerous tornado on the ground here, moving north at 30 miles an hour. We have Ulen here. Around 6:05 that'll be impacted, and honestly they may have to go tornado emergency if this keeps doing what it's doing. Let me take the population density on this. Again, this is a very strong tornado. It's been a while since we've had There'll be a tornado this strong in the state of Nebraska, folks. I know. I mean, it's been quite a while, and unfortunately, that situation is kind of streak maybe of not having that is kind of ending right in front of us. 501 people in that PDS tornado warning till 6:15 Central Time. So that's not an extreme amount. May not be enough for a tornado emergency, but its signature, folks, is really, really serious and really aggressive. It's the strongest we've seen all week here for sure. So you can't be messing around with this, folks. In Nebraska, and we have our local stuff. That's why we're on the local stuff. We had to break away for a moment because this is taking a turn for the worst here in Nebraska right now. A turn for the worst here in the Husker State per se. We're talking about a multi-vortex tornado with the rain wrapping curtains around it. 82-mile-an-hour winds one way, 50 the other, so maybe at least winds to 130 getting down to the surface in that latest scan. That's not good news. So this is what it said a moment ago. Our estimate, so this was, it takes a minute to calculate it, but it's on an EF3 tornado was in progress here just southeast of Scribner. We're lucky they didn't go right through town, or that'd be really bad, but this tornado here is moving up towards some of these areas. It may miss some of the more populated areas, but it will cross if it stays on the ground. Say right 32 it appear. Let me do another track on this, make sure it's giving me the up-to-date details here. Let me track it a little to the east here. That's the current circulation. You see close to Oakland, Nebraska. So we'll just keep watching this very carefully. We got a new warning locally, so I got to break back away. This is reported of Alachua and Gilchrist, a severe thunderstorm warning, not a tornado threat necessarily around here right now, but again, let's break back away here. I know in these type of situations, we have a lot going on. By the way, they dropped the warning for Hamilton. We're warning still going for Lanier. Have a storm there west of Lake City that's getting pretty strong as well. This storm here is really bubbled up here close to where we had some action yesterday. Speaking of not having a tornado, I mean, this is actually starting to rotate a little bit on us now around High Springs. So we'll have to watch that here. Let me see if there's a tornado possible tag on here. There is, because I do have it. I know I have our system kind of turned down because we're getting so many beeps out of Nebraska. There's a tornado possible tag on this here. 4 parts of Gilchrist and Alachua. Not a tornado warning yet, but we'll have to watch it here as it moves closer toward the community of Clark over the next few moments. So, again, this is just me backing it up going forward. Nothing was overly aggressive, but just looking to see if we have anything showing up within our algorithms. I don't see anything crazy, but still, severe thunderstorm warning here, western Alachua. They're saying northwest is where the worst of it is, but also east central Gilchrist and it's till 7:30 at 6:57. A severe thunderstorm was located over High Springs, or 12 miles southwest of Worthington Spring, and it's nearly stationary. So I gotta remain alert even now. I know we're talking about it mainly a Nebraska thing, but now here locally, it's not completely out of the question that we could get a quick spin-up tornado. There's a spin-up tornado type of tagging within this warning that includes Alachua, High Springs, and Newberry here over the next little bit. So, got a new warning now, Levy County locally. Let's go down here. Seems like the same area as yesterday in some ways. Similar. This storm has really nasty looking hail. Wow, look at that signature. Look at that signature here. Right near Inglis now. That's in Levy County, or County Road 40. At least quarter size hail, but it could be larger than that. It's moving southwest, they're saying now, so that's interesting. I mean, it would move outside of our area here pretty quick. Just as rapidly developed, very, very quickly here, evolving, but it's right near Inglis. This could clip Inglis with some of the worst of the hail over the next few minutes here in our southern areas of Levy County. This could be a nasty situation for Inglis here. In Levy County. You see Yankeetown, maybe they get clipped too, but Inglis is definitely in the line of concern here over the next few moments. So, again, this is nasty stuff here around Inglis, County Road 40, folks, in a part of Levy County. We're seeing some really nasty hail signatures here on the Doppler algorithm. So currently we have 3 local warnings. They dropped the Hamilton one. That's what we came on for with this stream. We were concerned about Jasper, but That is kind of weakened out for now. We have some other areas we'll watch. We have an area in Swanee, west of Lake City. We got to watch here for sure. When we get to our other mode here, a hail. Yeah, our other hail indicator, really telling the story here. So let me go ahead and go over to this. You can see 1.34 inch hail near Inglis here. Possibility on that. A more conservative estimate, 1.18 inches here around High Springs. This storm here in Swanee could be close to an inch in size, and the hail could get a warning soon. And then as we look up here in Georgia, we'll be continuing to watch this storm towards Lanier County with a warning in south central Georgia as well. So back to High Springs we go. This storm really pulsing up on us here, and it's at about its peak intensity in terms of hail. Rotation showed up some too, which is kind of unusual because we're not all that close to the radar here. The way it was showing up is a little concerning. Not a tornado warning yet, though. Not enough confidence in something like that occurring. But sometimes when things come together real quick, you can get a quick spin in the atmosphere. So, and get that down to the surface. You got to keep in mind that potential here as I continue to give you guys the latest to protect you, your friends, and your family right now. I know we're still watching Nebraska, but we're really busy right now, as you can kind of tell. Let's go ahead and go back. The rotation looks a little weaker, more diffuse. Again, no tornado warning here, but a severe thunderstorm warning with a tornado possible tag in this area as we're looking out here toward parts of north central Florida. So, again, you can kind of see how things are starting to come together there a little bit. I mean, these rotation numbers weren't extreme, but for this to far away from the radar, a little concerned. I wondered what Moody was showing because it would be a pretty similar height. So I'm going to do a analysis here. Okay, we're just going to do a warning, by the way, for Columbia and Swanee. Columbia and Swanee. Just getting that warning till 7:30 now. So we'll jump over to that here in just a moment. We'll jump over to that in just a moment. There's a lot of stuff happening, folks. Very, very rapidly here. Let's pad this up a little bit. I want to pad this up toward the south here. I want to see what the rotation is showing here. Yeah, for Moody, we're showing some pretty close in height. I mean, that makes you wonder a little bit. Right about the time that warning got issued, but even when it got issued, probably already starting to fade at that point. So that's the good news in terms of maybe that threat trying to fade somebody. A new warning up here. There it goes. It just popped on the screen. This is storm moving south at 15 miles an hour. At 7:06, the severe thunderstorm is located over Wellborn, or 10 miles southwest of White Springs, moving south at 15 miles an hour. We're talking about Wellborn and Houston in this. West Central Columbia, East Central Swanee counties for another 23 minutes or so with a threat there. Got a storm up in Lanier County. It doesn't look as strong. He might drop that one pretty soon. I know it's close to the radar, but it's not showing really strong stuff. And we got to do warning toward Levy County impacting areas around Inglis right now. So we just got to keep our eyes on the situation out here and toward this area at this present point in time. We're on the Moody side. Let's go to the Tampa radar, and then I know to jump around a little bit, which isn't the most ideal, but it's just to give you the best angles, the best looks of where the geography might be matching up with a storm. It's trying to reach down from the atmosphere, and then the radar scan picks it up. So, again, Inglis here. You can see some heavy rain, maybe some hail. It's not a big hail threat. Maybe moving more into citrus now. So that'll be something we won't have to talk about as much as that moves out of our area. But still, it may be hanging around Inglis for a little longer here. So this could be displaced still a little because they're so high up. So you may still want it until they drop this warning for Inglis. Stay in that severe thunderstorm safe spot here in interior room if you can help it. Get away from those windows. That lightning threat of danger here as well. They're now seeing a considerable threat of damage in parts of Swanee and Columbia County. So let's go over to that. Considerable damage here. Possible in Columbia and Swanee now. So let me go ahead and go over here because they're going to turn this orange. That's what this is going to be switching over to because this storm's escalating a little bit here. Maybe even a little weak rotation, surprisingly, with it. But nothing overwhelming. But the considerable TED did not have a tornado possible within it, but it's for the hail that could be reaching greater than $half size, maybe a golf ball size now in toward this area. So that's not what you want to see, not what you want to hear. Let me get back over here to other mode. So again, things kind of happen very quickly, happening very quickly right now. Just go ahead and say what is going on again. It's more about the 3 warning in Florida than the one in Georgia. We came on for earlier already. We can a little bit Hamilton, but this is in Swanee and Columbia. 10 miles southwest of White Springs or over Wellborn is where the worst of this is. Wellborn, Florida, getting some of the worst of this right now here. Getting some of the worst of the impact close toward US 90, if not over it. At this present point in time, a considerable damage threat. Prepare immediately for large hail and damaging winds. People outside to move to a shelter inside a strong building away from windows. Continuous cloudy ground lightning is occurring with this storm. Move indoors immediately. Lightning is one of nature's leading killers. Remember, if you can hear thunder, you're close enough to be struck by lightning, and torrential rainfall is occurring with this storm and may lead to flash flooding. Do not drive your vehicles to flooded roadways. So there's your storm there. There's your warning. There's a warning there in Alachua and Gilchrist. Let's check the rotation here. Just still a little more diffuse, but we'll watch it. Could have some hail here though. As we're around High Springs, maybe just there along US 441. We could be having some hail fall from the sky. That storm seems to be weakening a little bit in that latest assessments. All these do, which would be some good news, but maybe it's just a one scan thing and then they pulse back up, or maybe we just kind of had things hit real quick and then they'll kind of start to fall apart pretty quick on us here. But I just canceled a warning in Lanier, so we're going to be down to 3 warnings here. The 1 warning though in Orange until 7:30, Columbia Swanee, the 1 for Gilchrist, Alachua to 7:30, and the 1 for Clay, Citrus and Levy counties here. Citrus and Levy. I know we were talking about Clay County, Georgia earlier. There's a flash flood warning up there for Clay and early, continuing until about 8:15. But in Florida, Citrus and Levy, but Levy being in our area, so a thunderstorm warning continuing to about 7:15. We need to get back to Nebraska, though. There's some concerns out there then. Just wanted to get you updated on the local stuff. That's our main really responsibility here in the Weather Center. But let's go ahead and zoom back out to the west because pretty big national threat there right now. That's considered a large tornado on the ground. Large tornado on the ground here. 3 miles northeast of Scribner, 11 miles southeast of West Point, moving north at 30. PDS situation, maybe a matter of life and death. Never like seeing stuff like that here in the Weather Center. So that's your confirmed threat there right now. Of a large tornado. I want to go to the debris tracker again and see what's going on out here. See what's going on out here again. It's a PDS warning right now that you don't like to see, obviously. A particularly dangerous situation type of scenario still in play. I mean, just gotta watch here because our software is saying this could be about it as it still is loading. So this one it could still be about an EF2 to EF3 tornado that's in progress here, which is problematic. It's problematic here, folks. That means winds of at least 111 miles an hour are getting down to the surface. As we go back on over here, we get back on over here to our other mode. You can see our blue, that's indicative of debris. Here. I want to make sure we have our right speed and direction. So this is tracking here along these areas. It's pretty rural, thankfully, but you never know. Eventually it's going to cross over the road here with a home. There are a few homes here and there. It's a weird topography. I see it's pretty rural, but you actually have to look real close. Look at a home there. There's a home or two here, a home here, and some homes here. A few here and there, but these could be, I mean, for a lack of a better term, they could be shredded apart here in the next few moments. So folks need to take shelter. Definitely some odd topography, but these homes here, it's not impossible. These could be shredded apart here. So you got to take shelter. Basement, if you can get there, or a specialized tornado shelter if you have that. If and don't have a basement, otherwise interior room, a bathroom, a closet. This is in Nebraska. This is a serious tornado situation here. A serious situation, maybe a matter of life and death here. As we just had, based on our algorithm, debris getting over 7,000 feet at least. And then our EF scale, so this was at least an EF2 tornado out here. And then as we look kind of back over the last little bit, I know it was even maybe a little bit stronger. You can see all the reports back here, but it seems to have grown and picked up more and more debris here. As I need to take it out of this mode and go over here. But again, you can see That's some bad looking stuff. That's winds there over 120 miles an hour. I mean, there's a chance these winds could be even more like 140, 150 in here, though. But at least over 120, it would seem. That would seem probable. As this is moving up there in Nebraska. Thankfully, this isn't like in Omaha because look, I mean, Omaha's down here. If we had a storm like this going through Omaha, that would be disastrous, obviously. Right now, we're getting lucky, but many people are getting lucky, but a few people maybe not getting lucky here that are right in the direct path of this. In Nebraska here, just northwest of Euland. So, again, this is some really nasty stuff because, I mean, the gate to gate is together at about, I mean, you do the math, about 130 miles an hour, but just apart from that, we have winds that would add to about 180. And if those were to tighten up on us, then you can just kind of know the type of scenario we might be in, and it would not be a good one. So you saw the new update there. I'm just trying to make sure we average everything in. Here's some more debris signatures here in the white. It's not a continuous thing. I know it is actually, but this isn't going to show it continuous, but it just says these white areas say there's a 100% chance of tornado debris here. I know maybe some of these scales are not used to, but again, it's something new we're trying to use. I need to go back on over to the current live mode. Again, this debris getting up there very high up here. Let me do a bigger scan of this so I can kind of sweep it around here. Yes, so we'll try to put this on our 3D mode then. I think that'd be the way to go with this. So, I mean, it's probably getting close to 10,000 feet, I would say. So let's go ahead and go to our cross section. That means a more significant tornado as our other sources have acknowledged. I mean, we've had tornadoes yesterday out toward the Midwest and South Central, but nothing to this level, I don't think. Nothing that close to this level. Even things that kind of had tornadoes within them, but they haven't been just the overwhelming ones. This one more rural area, thankfully, but this one is a more overwhelming tornado here, and that's why we're so concerned and why we're focusing on it. The strong tornado threat wasn't all that highlighted here today, but nonetheless, as we switch between some different modes right now, I know you might have seen a look where we're at, looking outside from Bradford just for a second. We'll have to keep our eyes on our skies, but looking here at this national level threat here, this is a tornado with debris here, folks, in that 3D dimension, really. I mean, you can just see here these blue areas indicative debris dense up to 8,000, maybe something getting over 10,000 feet there. So I just gotta be aware of that. Back to the other mode we go right now. We'll go ahead and zoom back on out there and zoom in for just a second. And you'll be able to see, I mean, just look at all that blue, folks. And I mean, doing cross sections behind the scenes. It tells the story about how nasty things are here. Even it looks like a little bit of weakness, which is indicative of a nasty, nasty situation, folks. The latest scan here, 81 one way, 66 the other way. That's close to about 150 miles an hour of wind there coming together. The latest track has been wobbling, but it aims to, they think the tornado could head right toward Oakland, Nebraska, folks. That heads toward Oakland, Nebraska. Yeah, there's your news path track now. Then yeah, that might get us a tornado emergency, and that's not what you want to see. So let's just go ahead and look at this. Oakland, Nebraska. We're going to take the population density here. Obviously, a tornado emergency is something more significant. We'll get back to our local concerns in a moment. I'm going back and forth because of the extreme national concern out of this. So let me see here. So yeah, that warning has 3,558 folks, and that might be enough based on some of our signatures and the recent scans. It seems like some growth here again. It's about an EF2, but it could be stronger than that. I mean, the algorithm isn't going to calculate constantly. A 70 one way, a 70 the other. That's one's about 140. That now are pivoting more off toward the north and east, right toward Oakland, Nebraska. And if this were to wobble into town here, that could be a big problem. If you know anybody, and that's a small town, relatively, but Oakland, Nebraska, we don't talk about Oakland, Nebraska on here unless, I mean, never have before, I would think, and we are now, and I mean, if we're talking about it, you have a problem there. If you're watching me from there for whatever reason, or have relatives in that area, they need to know that a large tornado, maybe a violent tornado, is headed their way. They're calling this a very large and violent tornado that this has been observed by storm chasers. So we may get a as our latest scans continue to come in here. That latest scan kind of looked a lot weaker, which is interesting. I hope that's true and not just a one scan anomaly, but that really actually weakened down quite a bit there in that latest look at things. That'd be a miraculous day if that's the case, but you don't want to take chances there on Oakland, Nebraska. We got to get back to our local concerns for now. The reason we're on, we would have to come on for a tornado emergency though anyway. That's what we're trying to lead up to that. The warning, by the way, for Levy and Citrus let go at 7:15. So we have 2 warnings. By the way, the Moody Radar is now down. There's been an issue. Apparently, switch failed there. So it may underdo a little then at the algorithm and calculating quite right with this. So just something to keep in mind here. Again, 7:20 Eastern Time, 6:20 Central Time. We're in the Eastern Zone, though. This storm looks like the nastiest right now. Suwannee and Columbia counties. You can see southeastern parts there. Looks like, or at least east central parts of Suwannee is where the hail threat would be the biggest. So, again, I just got to be really cognizant of what's going on and seek shelter there from this type of threat. So, checking some more information here right now. Bear with me. Zoom back out too. I'm trying to give you guys the latest here. Some of the stuff in Georgia looks more disorganized. Instability is going to start to maybe wane some up there, which would be good news. There is a flash flood warning here for parts of Clay and Early still, but in some other areas we could have to watch for some of the pond in the water, things like that. But they're now going to expire the warning. So but then it's a warning for Alachua and Gilchrist here. So that storm is weakened pretty quick. It went up quick. It's weakened pretty quick though. So we're down to 1 local warning just like that here. Technically one will go to 7:30, but really the threat's about wrapping up for now with the highest level of concern. So that's why they're dropping that. There's still a little bit of hail in there though, not far from High Springs, but this is the one with the considerable threat, at least till 7:30. We may not get so lucky with this one. They might have to extend it if that core stays together. I mean, it's dipping south, which is an interesting direction for sure. If that core stays together though, then we'll be in a situation here, folks, where, then I have to extend that. So. That storm in Nebraska, I do think it is weakening, but do not let your guard down. Take shelter around Oakland, Nebraska. These storms can be very serious, very tricky. They're still going to call this PDS, but not go to emergency. And at this point, I agree because it doesn't look quite like it would meet that criteria a few moments ago. I think it would have if it was right approaching town, but it even looks like it's moved off a little to the west here. Make sure storm motion is updated there good, and you can kind of see here. We have these. They're still pretty strong, but they're not quite together. But we're being told of already big problems back to the south. I'm saying they think it might try just west of Oakland, Nebraska, but multiple farmsteads have been damaged. Large power lines down, trees shredded 3 miles east of Scribner, and the path is approximately a half-mile wide. So that's from a storm spotter, folks. Oh, it just tightened back up. It just tightened back up, folks. As you can see, look at those, there's winds in there. That blue tells the story. I know we got a little close, but it told the story there for sure in this type of situation. It told the story here. And that's something to bear in mind. You do not want to be messing around in this type of situation here. Even if it misses town, this could still be a problem again for folks. As that looks like it's tightening back up, just like that went to 130. And this is going to cross. This is going to cross over a road here. State Road 32 in Nebraska. They're saying just like that is identified again. But right now it's tracking about a mile west of Oakland, Nebraska. But you're in a warning in Oakland. What if it wobbles? We won't have time. We don't have time to mess around here if it wobbles. And speaking of wobbling, oh my goodness, what they're telling me in the chat here is almost unbelievable. But you just have to be prepared for that. But they're saying here, the Spotter Network now, .org reported centered an anticyclonic cone tornado orbiting a large wedge tornado 4 miles to the south-southwest of their location. So that means we have a tornado and we have one spinning around it. And this setup, and a lot of these setups, maybe you don't think that's happening, but we've had it in Nebraska before with 2 tornadoes that were just, incredible. We've had that before. This right here sounds really, really bad, though, if this is trying to reorganize, get its act together per se, if that's the right wording to use. But again, you don't want to be messing around here on Oakland, and even if, because maybe this is your twin tornadoes orbiting around. I'm not 100% sure because it's kind of hard to pick out on radar, but maybe this blue area is that, but I don't know. It's so tricky. Things could be pushed one way or the other here, and that's why the tornado warning is out for a larger area. You can't be messing around here. If you're in this box, you got to take shelter, life-threatening situation. Oakland, Lyons, and Nebraska here. Particularly dangerous scenario. Life-threatening stuff. They're flying debris may be deadly to those. Call it out. Shelter. Mobile homes will be destroyed and considerable damage to homes, businesses, and vehicles is likely, and complete destruction is possible there. That's the National Weather Service in Omaha and that Valley region talking about that. So again, scans keep changing. I bet that next scan's going to pick back. Well, it didn't. But, the next scan after that could pick back up then. That's indicative of a very strong tornado. I think the main tornado remains on track to pass 1 mile west of Oakland, though. But then this may be the sign of the tornado that's orbiting around. It sounds like that kind of looks like that might be. This is your main tornado, and this is your secondary tornado out here. So, again, some very tricky stuff to follow there. Let's get back to our local area in just a second and give me a new update. And I apologize for not taking the clock off here because we're bouncing between stuff. I know it's an hour earlier out there, but we're trying to watch our stuff. We're trying to bounce it every which way. We just got a new local warning, by the way. Columbia, Gilchrist, and Suwanee until 8 o'clock. KO to an inch and a half in diameter. 60-mile-an-hour winds. I may get there in just a second, but they're telling us a weaker satellite tornado might go just to the east, and it may impact the town of Oakland per a spotter report. So that's why you can't mess around on Oakland, folks. Again, multiple tornadoes, a main tornado and an anticyclonic tornado orbiting around the tornado's core. That is just extraordinary, obviously, and that's not a good thing to deal with. So, if you kind of have it spinning around, and it could head into town here over the next little bit. So, again, new local warning. We need to jump back on over then. Need to jump back. The storm, well, it was during the week, and now it's strengthening again. Let's get back on over here. Let me get back on over here to our other source. There you go. We're at 7:27 in the Eastern Time Zone. I'm meteorologist Casey Clouster with you right now. That's your one warning. We had a weakening, but now it's strengthening the latest scan. Looks like I might be building out ahead a little. We're just moving that quick. And it looks like it's kind of building out ahead a little bit there. It doesn't look like it's strengthened right as it getting in towards some of these different areas in southern Suwanee County mainly. A little bit of Columbia into this too, but we're talking about parts of Gilchrist, Columbia, and Suwanee now until 8 o'clock. Ping pong ball size hail and 60-mile-an-hour gust in play. Severe thunderstorm located 7 miles northwest of Itchitucknee Spring, moving south at about 10 miles an hour. So Itchitucknee Spring for a White, Branford, and Hildreth. So prepare immediately for large hail and damage and winds. People outside should move immediately to shelter inside a strong building. Stay away from windows here. Of course, lightning can be so dangerous, if not deadly. We talked about it earlier in the week, but it's worth mentioning again. This time of year, don't have to have a formal risk of severe weather necessarily to get a bunch of warnings, a bunch of reports, and that's the case today. No formal risk, and all this stuff is just popping up across our area. So that's just how it is in this time of year. Other times of year, if you had all this without a risk, it'd be crazy, but this isn't as crazy here because it happens a lot with these type of setups. You have the energy and you have some different forces here in play. They combine, you get the warnings, and you get damage here, and you got to be prepared for it. I also got to remember the lightning threat here too. So whenever thunder war's going towards, whether there's a warning or advisory or not. So this storm here maybe had about an inch right now. They're saying it could be closer to ping pong ball size though, which would be an inch and a half in size. So again, we'll just have to continue to watch this here in the Weather Center as we continue to give you the latest information to protect you, your friends, and your families. So, again, let me see what else we might have here. Right now, that's about the only one that really looks too alarming. Things can always change. They do change here from time to time. But let me go ahead and zoom back out to the west here again. Let me zoom back out to the west. You can see our little spin here in Nebraska, our cyclone per se. And then we have a situation here with the low pressure. And then this flank here, yeah, this large tornado producing threat, maybe multiple tornadoes in that area. So let me go ahead and see what we might have here. It looks like the main tornado is going west of town as expected now in Nebraska, in the Oakland area, which is good. That's good news. We could still have something else in there. It's harder to tell. It almost looks like the one area, if it's the area to the west here, it almost looks like that might not be quite as organized, but it's really hard to tell. That's not something you're used to. I'm all used to looking at tornadoes go around, tornadoes on radar, so that's very bizarre stuff. I mean, you don't hardly ever see that. So again, it goes to see the environment that we're dealing with. Unfortunately, here just west of Oakland in Nebraska, you can see 90-mile-an-hour winds one way, 60 the other way. That's when it's 150 miles an hour though. If it's reaching the debris signature, not apparent in the moment. So maybe it's saying this to law, but then we gotta start watching out for Lyons, Nebraska. The community of Lyons, Nebraska could be next in line here. If this were to start to get its head together at the surface, that aloft motions is so significant, so strong, that as it starts to come down to the surface, then that could come right into areas around Lyons, Nebraska. And you see here, based on the topography, there's a big cluster of homes. Hopefully it goes just west, but even then, few homes could be hit, and people's lives could be impacted, but it wouldn't be quite as bad in theory. But again, some nasty stuff here in this part of the country. Confirmed tornado. Also, we're being told now, just east of Carroll in Cedar and Wayne County. So it's up here then, I believe. Let me see. That's Wayne County. So where are we at here on the geography? I gotta make sure I get this aligned right here because I'm not that familiar with this area. So let me just go ahead and see what we have. Cedar and Wayne County, maybe it's out here. I see Wayne, so it must be a situation here. We'll see it turn purple in a second. The area that we're talking about here, I mean, it's probably a weaker tornado though. It's east of Carroll, so maybe in here somewhere then. Pretty weak, but I mean, if there's an indication there's a confirmed tornado there, so take shelter now. Let's go back down here then. A more significant tornado in Nebraska, winds of 84 one way, 50 something the other way. That's winds over 130. Again, still a threat here. Still a threat. So gotta be taking the situation seriously. Starting to get that debris signature to pop again. That's a tornado that's touching down here. A tornado that's touching down again. It would seem in this type of situation. So, again, just trying to see you guys what's going on here. Take shelter around Lyons, Nebraska here. Lyons, Nebraska here. In this type of situation, you don't want to mess around with this. In this area, this storm's already caused big problems in the more rural areas. It seems that it's hit. But obviously, you don't want to be caught out in this type of weather. So take those tornado precautions. Let's get back over to local concern here in just one moment. Real quick, shear rate product is kind of interesting. You can just see that bullseye there. That blue is just off the charts. The rotation here with this storm in Nebraska. Other areas of rotation, there's some. Radar scans here might be a little way, and yeah, I mean the rotations aren't just overwhelming though, like what we're seeing. We just got some more reporting in locally. We need to go over to this. We're getting some different things here popping really fast. So let me go ahead and show you guys what we're dealing with here. So we're now being told there's some flooding taking place in Clinton County around Homerville. Flooding inside of a restaurant. Heavy rain, ankle deep. Flooding inside now the restaurant. There's not many restaurants in Homerville there, so you probably know what we're talking about there if you remember that area. So again, ankle high water coming in there now, and it's up to ankle deep here in Homerville in Clinton County. They might issue a flash flood warning for that. Maybe it's more isolated, confined. Maybe some drainage issues around there. So then they wouldn't, but okay, we just got a new warning now, we're being told in our local area. So let's see, it's for Dixie and Lafayette counties now. You wanted to edge out because this one's looking a little bit more interesting. I think it might kind of clip in some areas outside of the viewing circle. That warning's going to 8:15 warnings going to 8:15 now for parts of Dixie and Lafayette counties. This tornado, it's technically spring, is moving south at about 25 miles an hour. So, again, gotta watch it here. That latest candle, it just weakened. So that's good. Hope it keeps weakening here. That'd be some good news. We don't have good news in Nebraska. Our tornado shear rate price is just off the chart right now. It is showing rotation here about 140, 150 miles an hour. The debris signature is back, and that's awful. It's awful in there in Nebraska. Let's go ahead and go back completely. A brand new debris signature in Nebraska right now. Now we're going between local and national, so try not to confuse you. If you're just joining in, I might be at times out, and I do apologize. We have two big stories: our local concern and our national concern that we have to talk about. That debris signature is there. It's gonna get worse. It's gonna get worse here, folks, and that's really bad looking. Hopefully it misses town, but it's still gonna hit a few homes here and there. I mean, you see them if you look at the topography. It's really intriguing. But homes like this one here, maybe getting here right now, or this one, or maybe all these. If it's half-mile wide here, all these homes here, you see them. They're in between, are more rural. Pretty big homes. They might be getting hit here pretty hard from a significant tornado, even if it doesn't hit all the cluster of homes and businesses over towards Lyons, Nebraska here. So, again, that's kind of the storyline right now. Again, we're seeing wind. This just went down a little bit, but you saw that debris signature is sticking out like a sore thumb. This blue area, folks, is just extremely dense debris. Extremely dense debris here toward parts of Burt and Cumming counties here in Nebraska. That's just bad stuff that you're seeing on the Doppler algorithm. Eventually, Rosalie there, we need to be watching this. That's up there. We're seeing some of these different zones. That's up toward Thurston County, it appears, right now this morning for Burt and Cumming counties. We have another confirmed tornado warning in North Cedar and Wayne. It's the weaker, though, quite a bit weaker. But this one here is the monster-type tornado that we're dealing with, and I hate even saying that, but that's what the storyline does suggest here based on the different algorithms. A monster-type tornado. I just went more north there, though, which would mean maybe a little bit better for Lyons itself, but this monster tornado that's back on the ground here and picking up all this debris. And this blue here is all debris. It singles off of houses, maybe pieces of roofs, it's pieces of trees there. Just you kind of get the idea. That's being lofted all the way and upward right over in Omaha to be able to see that and read that off. It's not rain or hail, and it's pretty clear. It's sticking out like a sore thumb. Right down and way down here, and it's still on it way up here, folks. That debris, you can just see it. It's something different than what the rain is. It's a large and extremely dangerous tornado located 4 miles southwest of Lyons, or 10 miles east of West Point, moving north at 30 miles an hour. So, very significant tornado threat in play there. I read earlier, we saw maybe upwards of a F3 tornado with a debris signature. I want to go back on over here to our local concern. I want to go back on over here to the local concern. You can see our warnings right now. The one from Jacksonville, the one from Tallahassee for that storm there. That's in the Jacksonville jurisdiction for now, but they say they issued a severe thunderstorm warning for far eastern Dixie and Lafayette, just in case the cell really eclipses those areas. It looks like the strongest part may remain just on the other side of the Swanee River, but they're going to monitor it just in case. Never know here in these type of scenarios. Again, let's go ahead and go back on over here. Some of our different modes. The Moody radar down, unfortunately, so it may be tricking us a little bit here. Yeah, because that's from 30 minutes ago. I just want to make sure we're kind of in a bad spot here. It's going to make it a little bit harder to get a read on this then. So, I mean, the distances get kind of messed up here. So, I mean, let's see. I'll check Tallahassee and I'll check Jacksonville both. And I might even have to check Tampa to see because this isn't really in a great spot here in the Doppler radar. This is the Moody radar area that you'd want to use it for. This is 8,000, 9,000 feet off of Tallahassee. Jacksonville, let's see what Jacksonville is in terms of that distance here from the radar. We're talking about 6,000, so let's use Jacksonville. And there's even some rotation with this. It's showing up as from Jacksonville. So let me go ahead and jump on over here. On this view You can see this in that last scan or two, a little bit of weak rotation there. There's north of US 27 in there, so I have to watch that. And then a hail core showing up here. That's in the north parts of northern Gilchrist County. Northern Gilchrist County. Some pretty big hail showing up here, possibly. It's hard to tell exactly because we're not at the greatest spot on the radar, but some pretty big hail showing up there in northern Gilchrist County. And there are some homes out here, it looks like. So, not a lot maybe, but there are some. And they're being impacted by some hail right now here in Gilchrist County. Northern Gilchrist County, maybe hail to about ping pong ball size, according to the Weather Service. So not what you want to hear. Not what you want to hear. So, not as bad as what they're seeing out of Nebraska, though, and that's what we're thankful for. But let me see here. Let me see. I know I'm curious, and I kind of wish I knew how this algorithm worked exactly. I know it generally does a good job, but I wonder with the Vedaster being down, if maybe things haven't been, if they're not switched in there quite right. It could undo these hail signatures on a more conservative source to make them look under severe when they could be actually reaching. So that's why we're a little bit trying to be careful with this here too. Watch this area here in Levy needs to be watched. Being told there's some issues toward Hernando County. Some drain flooding there taking place down there. So we'll watch that. Let's get back on over right now to our tornado threat out toward the west. So going from our Eastern time, we're at 7:40 to 6:41 now Central time. So again, I'm just continuing to watch things here in the Weather Center. Let's go to our shear rate product. Our shear rate product. I'm just trying to see exactly what's going on here. I'm going to go ahead and try to give you guys an analysis of this here in the weather picture. So bear with me. Just trying to look at some different things, some of our different tools here at our disposal. Again, tornado warning there with the Omaha radar site. Again, that shear rate product telling a story, and not a good one. Not a good one. As I'm watching the debris signature, the latest scans here. So we're showing that at about 40 past the hour. So let's go back on over here. Let's go back on over here right now to our other mode. Again, you can see that debris signature there. That's about an EF2 tornado corner algorithm. Could be a little bit stronger than that at points, though. That matches up pretty good. So what a storm, and not a good storm here. This is in parts of, it looks like Burke County right now. Right on the edge there. You see Cumming County in Nebraska. Again, we're breaking from local to national because this is a large tornado in progress here. As we're going back and forth. But a large tornado 10 miles east of West Point in Nebraska, or 4 miles southwest of Lyons here in Nebraska. So this is a life-threatening situation here, folks. You can see 71 way, 40 the other way. That could get us up toward Rosalie here, and maybe Walt Hill up into toward Thurston County over the next little bit in Nebraska. Storm has a history of producing some pretty nasty damage, so do not want to be messing around with it. That's debris still. Our debris mode's trying to show some different things, do some different calculations. It was showing debris about 6,000 at least feet here a moment ago in the grand scheme of things. So you can see that lofted up there. That's what our color table indicates here. Debris about 6,000 feet with this red here. So just continuing to watch, continuing to track. Let me get back on over right now to our local troubles here, our local concerns. We'll get back on over right now. Again, we're sitting at about 7:43 Eastern. This storm here is still showing some problems for northern Gilchrist County. This storm here that's not quite severe in Levy, but may get a warning here soon. We'll see as we continue to watch and continue to track the latest on these type of situations. The pre-signatures weaken in Nebraska a little, by the way, so I'll rate that radar from the analyst mode on that storm action to board our local storm action again as we continue to watch the situation here on the local level at 7:44 on this Friday. So again, I've been on this stream for about an hour. I've been on other streams today, yesterday, the day before. It's all in serving you, your friends, and your family. So That's what it's all about here at Cloud Weather, to keep you guys as safe and informed as we have a lot going on here at the present time. So in Florida, we have that warning here from Gil Christen. Excuse me, as I lose my voice a little. Been talking for a while. It's just a one-man band, but Gil Christen, Swanee. I need to make sure we're on the right radar here, because the other one went down because they had an issue. But let me go ahead and see if I can get the right view up here. Make sure I get everything set quite right on here before I switch it on over. We're just going to try to see exactly what's happening. Just bear with me here as I try to give you guys the latest information to protect you, your friends, and everybody out there that's wanting to get this information, your family there. So I know. Let me go ahead and switch on over. The latest mode's a little bit weaker hail in Jacksonville, which would be good, but we're looking kind of high up, so don't want to take any chances here, but it may be weakening a little bit, I'm hoping. This time out here, it looked like it was rotating almost a little, which is interesting. I don't know for sure, but that's in northern Alachua County. Nothing more in there, but this time here, it looks like it's still showing some hail signature acts, and it may be trying to weaken, but we're to further look from this than we would like to be. So we're going to keep you updated. We're going to take a quick break, gather more information here, watch locally and nationally. We're at 7:45 right now. We'll be back here, let's say, in about 5 minutes, about 7:50. So keep it tuned to Cloud Weather. We'll keep you guys up to date. Meteorologist Casey Cloud back here in the Weather Center with another update at 7:50 on this Friday evening. I know we're seeing a board here that looks a little better locally. If I switch computers, bear with me here just a second. This is from just a second ago here with that look. Locally, we were looking at the 2 warnings, but you saw on our screen during the break here that the warnings just went away. They both got canceled out here because the threat seems to have weakened on off some on that local level. The one area didn't need the warning since the threat had weakened off before it even entered in toward Lafayette County, toward areas like Dixie County, but toward areas there off toward the east. It had kind of fallen apart some over there. We did get a report of hail about a ½ inch in diameter there around Hildreth, 5 miles northwest of Hildreth, just over the last little bit. So that's something to keep in mind as we're looking at different things here in the Weather Center. Of course, we had some flooding, some water coming in the restaurant there in Homerville. So you just got to keep that in mind. No formal warning there. The only formal warning we have in our area now is that flash flood warning still for just a little longer in Georgia for portions of Clay and Early counties. So, but the weather service in Tallahassee saying the rest of the area is now rain cold Tallahassee area with just widespread light to moderate rain north of I-10. The severe storm threat seems to be ending with the only place untouched is the far southeastern Big Bend in case stuff kind of tries to matriculate over there over the next little bit. So again, let me just see what we have here. I know we'll be watching tomorrow's threats here. See if anything pops up. There's some national tornado threats in Iowa, Illinois. If those were to overachieve tomorrow, that's a lot more populated area. So we got to be careful here. And then we have a threat on a Sunday there, Mother's Day, toward Indianapolis, Cincinnati, and Louisville, even near Evansville, around Evansville as well. Got to be watching right on the edge of the flight risk, and then a marginal risk all the way down toward Nashville. So, of course, we can always have our severe threats here that pop up from time to time. Just kind of looking at some different things here before. I'm hoping we'll be able to wrap things up here soon. Make sure we don't get another warning. There was a storm in Levy that looked a little stronger a moment ago. Doesn't look quite as strong here in these most recent scans, which is some good news. But we'll keep tracking things here in the Weather Center. So 40% chance of rain here on that north central Florida level tomorrow, I would say, give or take. I'm just kind of looking at some things here behind the scenes, and a little bit less for Mother's Day, a little more maybe for Monday. So that's just right there in north central Florida, though, in that hyper local scales. I've been talking a little too long here today, so I apologize if I'm not making sense sometimes, or at least missing a word or something like that. But again, we're behind the scenes. We're now in front of the camera. That storm in Nebraska, just so you guys know, the one we've been following, the rotation looks a lot weaker. There's the other storm we had to confirm. It's about the same, not maybe a little stronger, but not seeing a whole bunch with it. But let's give you one last look at that because it really looks better. Doesn't mean it's going to stay better. Things can always change. And there has been a lot of damage, it would seem, even though it did hit more rural areas than urban, which is a good news. If it hit an urban area, we'd have been talking about a really serious, widespread destructive situation, but still could have had injuries out here. I mean, this storm was strong enough, the tornado is strong enough to do that here, but we've lost it every signature pretty much now. We had it there for even a little bit more as it came back, but now it's hard to even find that, so that's some good news out there. We'll have to keep watching. Still a tornado warning for now for parts of Burt and Cumming counties, another for Cedar County there confirmed, and we have a tornado warning in toward parts of Dixon County there, and then we have areas closer toward Iowa. I mean, this is close there. Looks like I'm looking at my geography a little bit. They're right near, as I look here, Fremont County and also Nemaha County, Nebraska. Then we have Atchison County in Missouri here. As you can kind of see that clip by it as well. I went a little too far south. There's still a threat down here though, but Atchison County. I think I said it right the first time, but you get what I mean there. As we're looking toward that area, Atchison County. There we go. I had it right to begin with, but you get the idea. That is a little bit stronger there, so I'll have to watch that. And nothing is confirmed. Maybe that was like it wants to be a debris signature. No, that's inflow. Okay, that should still be. Hopefully, that's still inflow there as that moves off into maybe northwestern Missouri, clipping some different areas. That's why there's a bunch of boxes there. It gets a little confusing. There's a hook on that, so we got to be careful with it for sure. as that moves on off here towards some of the different areas. So that's gonna do it for now. We're at 7:55. No local warnings except for the flash flood warning. That'll be expiring out soon. We do have the national concern days drop for now, but we'll be watching things. We'll be tracking things here in the Weather Center as necessary. Just thanks so much for tuning in and trusting me. If we need to come back on as needed, we will do that. Facebook, Casey Cloud Reacts Cloud Weather. Twitter at Cloud Casey. YouTube at Cloud Weather. The auto alerts also are available there at Cloud_WX. You have cloud.com with all the list of sources that you can watch the stream on. That includes Twitch as well. And then cloud.com also has a look at that interactive radar. Have a good night. Stay safe out there. Hopefully we won't have to see you again tonight, but if we will, we're prepared to come on here to give you guys the latest.